Like the ability to edit a task or mark a task as complete on our task list on the accordion of tasks. So let's do that now. So currently we have the accordion, expanding elements, and beside that chevron, the expand chevron, we'd like to be able to give the user the option to mark a task as complete or mark it for editing. Let's create a div, and we are going to add some buttons into this. We're going to use the grid system to allot a certain number of columns for the buttons and a certain number of columns for the description of the task and its due date. So in the first column grouping, which will be 3 columns wide, we will add our expand more. And in the second grouping, we'll add the task name and the task due date. And inside there, we're also going to add some buttons. Just do a check. Once you do an edit, once you move or play around with your code, just do a check just to make sure that the layout is still as you'd expect. So then we go back to buttons, and instead of a submit button, we just use a style button here, which is really it's a link, it's an anchor that has been styled. And we're going to grab that styled component and use it for submitting a task and also editing a task. Okay, we'll call one edit and we'll call the other one done. So task done and edit. Save our changes, view. And you can see there the images are, the buttons they're quite bulky, and that's as small as they come out of the box unless we apply custom styles. And that's why we created our static directory with our styles in the last video, so we can make them more presentable. So let's now go to our style.css and let's create a class called button small, and we give it a height of 24 pixels. We give it a width of 60 pixels. We give it a line height again of 24 pixels. And let's give it some margin. We give it some margin to give it some breathing space. It's actually to push each button away from each other. So left and right, top and bottom will be 5 pixels. So as a result, there'll be a 10 pixel distance between each button. And we give it some padding. Let's get rid of our test style. Ignore the warning there, it's just advice. And let's paste in the style name and see if it works. Do a refresh, and you can see there it is, it's working. We'd also like to change the colors. Again, provide as much visual clues as you can to the user. And we can use default colors that are provided by Materialize. Of course, these can all be overridden and customize in your own styles. But for simplicity, we'll just use blue for edit, and we'll leave green for done, which is the default. We're also going to provide some custom styling for our header, the task header, which currently contains the information, the task name and the due date. When it's 5 pixels, margin top, that's to align it with the buttons because it's slightly off. It's slightly above center with the buttons themselves. Do refresh. And that should be better. Okay, you can also see here that because of the use of columns, the 3 and the 9, we get a nice responsive display at on a smaller form factor such as a mobile device. Finally, let's wrap our content in a container. And just as with Bootstrap, Materialize uses a container. If you wrap the outermost div in a container, it makes it more presentable.